Hello and welcome to Virtuosity, where we believe who you are matters. I'm Corey Crossan, co-founder of Virtuosity. I also work at the University of Oxford with the Oxford Character Project. In this video, I'm going to run through Virtuosity's strategic underpinnings. You can see here that I am sharing my phone screen, and that's because you can find this resource in Virtuosity in the library. So I'm going to start with our mission. Our mission is to democratize research-based leader character development to support sustained excellence and well-being, because who you are matters. This is a paradigm shift because often when we focus on sustained excellence and well-being, we've typically focused on competencies. And so what we're doing is shifting that focus to also focus on who you are. So that's the character piece, elevating your character alongside your competencies. Our vision is to put a customized research-based leader character development programs in the hands of every individual, so through a mobile app. And what we want to do with this video is take you under the hood. Our other co-founder, Dr. Mary Crossan, said we built a Ferrari that you can take to the grocery store. So while Virtuosity is really built to help with your daily habit development, there's a lot more that you can do with it, and we want to show you how you can leverage that. We're going to focus on 3 strategies. The first one is the daily exercise of character development. The second one is how Virtuosity is enabling a scalable and customizable program. And the third one is this multi-level systems alignment. So a lot of these strategies are geared towards organizations, teams, or groups, hoping to embed character into their environment, but this can also help the individual user if they're interested as well. A big driving force towards designing Virtuosity was getting away from what we call the temporary bump. So temporary bumps look like workshops, one-off sessions that are there to really support the learning or an awareness of something new. And these are really wonderful because it creates a lot of inspiration, and individuals are leaving feeling inspired to make changes. But what we are finding is that there weren't the changes that we wanted to see happening even an hour later, a day later, a week later, a month later, etc. So we designed Virtuosity to move away from that temporary bump and move along this strategic vector to make a strategic impact. So to do this, we have to move along 2 axes. One is breadth of implementation, so moving from a focus on the individual, scaling across the entire organization. And the second one is depth of implementation, so moving from awareness and an assessment all the way to institutionalization. So this first strategy, daily exercise, we're going to focus on how it moves the needle from awareness to assessment to actually developing your character. Virtuosity draws on these 7 strategies for character development, and this framework was developed by researchers at the University of Oxford and Wake Forest University. You'll see a theme throughout our entire Virtuosity program is that we really build our programs on research so that you can be assured what you're focusing on is actually going to lead to the outcomes you want. I'm not going to dig into each of these 7 strategies, that's for another video, but you can know that these are here and you can look out for them in your program. The second piece here is the 5 stages for character development. So we always start by building on the first stage to make sure that we're building that strong foundation. So that's discovering what your character looks like. And this is a really important step because everyone's character looks very different. The second piece is activating your character. So figuring out what it feels like to actually activate an isolated character behavior. The third piece is strengthening your character. So now that you know what your character looks like, what it feels like to activate it, how can you actually strengthen it? So these are exercises and practices. The fourth piece is connecting your character. So character is interconnected. All of the behaviors work together to support one another. So figuring out what your unique connections look like. And the fifth piece is sustaining your character across context and under stress. This is really important one because your character is strongest when it sustains across different contexts. So when you think about different contexts like being at home, your workplace, at school, maybe in your friend groups, your character may look different in those different contexts. So trying to think about how it differs and how you can strengthen it in all of those contexts. The essence towards virtuosity is really developing these habit-based character behaviors. And so we put together this weekly plan that we know from our research will support you in actually changing your character. So this is what your weekly plan looks like. And I'm going to draw attention to that daily exercise and daily assessment piece. So what this means is the more you can cultivate that daily habit, the more you're bringing character to the forefront of your mind to transform the way you interact in your day. So a very simple example that I love, one of my favorites, is if I'm trying to develop my collaboration, I might be prompted to use yes and language throughout my conversations in the day. So you can see how this isn't really adding too much time to my day, but it's helping me transform the way I engage throughout my day. So a really practical example of how I use Virtuosity on a daily basis. When I wake up, I check out what my exercise prompt is. So again, it's bringing character to the forefront of my head so I can engage in the day differently. And then I commute using a train. So when I'm on the train, I dig into the library resources. This could be articles or podcasts, whatever it might be. And then as I go to bed, I complete my daily reflection. Okay, moving to strategy 2, we're focusing on breadth of implementation. So really trying to go from only focusing on the individual to moving across to teams, groups, and organization. So that's the scalable and customizable piece. A lot of times when we try and scale, we lose the customized piece. So this is a really important part of Virtuosity. The leader character framework serves 2 purposes. It helps scale across an organization because it creates a common language as we're all working towards the same goal. It also helps the customized piece because it provides a comprehensive roadmap that helps every individual figure out what their unique needs are to strengthen their overall character. So all of these words here that you see are virtues, which means that they produce favorable outcomes for self, others, and society. But virtues do operate between a deficient vice and an excess vice. So you can see here we have a comprehensive vocabulary that can help you understand where you are. Do you exhibit virtues or do you exhibit deficient vices or excess vices? What this helps you do is each individual will have their own unique needs. So this helps bring a strategic approach to targeting behaviors that are going to make the biggest impact in your development. This helps mitigate against blanket approaches where an organization might say everyone needs to develop integrity. And what can happen there is that people that are operating with strong integrity already might begin to operate in those excess vice states, turning into uncompromising, belligerent, and rigid behavior if they're not focusing on other behaviors like humanity and collaboration to support it. So while an organization might have the overall goal of strengthening integrity, how each individual gets there will be different. We can also look at this example with burnout. So burnout is a common thing that a lot of us struggle with, but how we each get there and therefore how we can each mitigate it will be different. So let's look at one example. So someone with really strong drive, underdeveloped temperance, may manifest into burnout. So this is the go, 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 and not a lot of time, taking time to relax for yourself. But also someone with totally different character, let's say really strong humanity and underdeveloped integrity to support it. This looks like someone always focusing on supporting others and not taking enough time to do the things that are important for them. So also manifesting in burnout. For me, I have really strong transcendence and I would say a much weaker collaboration. So if I'm always pushing these ideas and shooting for the stars, and I'm not focusing on developing and strengthening meaningful relationships around me, my energy is not going to be sustained, and that's going to lead to burnout as well. So hopefully these examples help you see that while many of us are focusing on the same direction, the paths that we take are all different. And so Virtuosity helps us scale, but it also doesn't lose that customized approach that's so important with character development. Okay, moving on to the last strategy. So this is really trying to move along that diagonal vector there. And this is the multi-level systems alignment. So thinking about the box or the environment that we're creating that's conducive to character development. And we have boxed watermelons here. And a colleague from the Oxford Character Project actually shared this story with me, and I found it so inspirational and so useful for this topic. What happened was people that wanted to transport watermelons thought it would be easier to do if they were in box formations. So although watermelons typically grow as an oval, if you put a watermelon in a box, it actually grows in a box shape. So same thing with organizations, groups, teams, whatever it might be, thinking about what are the structures or the systems that you're designing and how are they conducive to the character development that you want to see. With Virtuosity, we have a process set up to help organizations embed character, and this includes a 3-step process. The first one is starting with leadership, and this is not essential, but we heavily encourage it because it ensures that there's commitment to lead this through. And what this looks like is starting with an awareness of what character is and assessing what the character of your organization actually looks like and what does that mean. The second piece is getting a group of character champions together and engaging in a longitudinal process. And this involves the character development of those character champions, which simultaneously helps them think about how they can embed character into their practices more effectively. This sets them up to then roll out character or virtuosity to the entire organization. And we're always looking at a reinforcing cycle here where the development of the character of the individuals, that's at the bottom there, helps us think about how we can strategically align practices that are conducive to character development. So the strategic alignment, you can think about very many different ways to do this, and this is the strategic roadmap that we use that can be helpful. I won't go into too much detail here, we'll do another video on that, but I will run you through it quickly. So starting with that awareness piece, always a good place to start. There's a lot of different HR practices that you can think about shifting as well. So everything from strategy, purpose, culture, risk management, and then you could even think about recruitment, selection, onboarding, performance management, etc. There's of course development initiatives you can keep going, and all of this is to support excellence and well-being. You will notice too that your key indicators will likely shift. There's a lot of research that supports this. So whatever your goals and aims may be, character should be able to support and move those needles. How does Virtuosity support this? Well, Virtuosity tries to strengthen that relationship between the individuals and those systems. And so one way we do this is we have a dashboard available to the organization that shows group level data, and that helps inform targeted areas of where to put your development focuses. We also have this culture table, and it essentially mimics that virtues and vices index I showed you before, but it brings it at the cultural level. And what we find is most organizations would be extremely happy if their organization was described by that strong character column. And so you can try and take stock of where your organization is by using this tool. Another feature in Virtuosity is the character profile page. And what this does is it again helps strengthen the relationship between the individual and the group. Here you can see the individual insights for one person through the colored bars, but it also has partner ratings and it also has the organizational average, which is what I'll talk about. So those are the white tick marks. And this helps the individual see where they stand compared to others in their organization. So that if they have a strength where the white bar is much lower, they can know that this is a strength that's unique to them, and they can offer support to others in their organization. Whereas if they have a weaker behavior and they see the white mark is above them, it means that on average, others in the organization have stronger dimension. And so that individual can look and seek help from others. Another feature in Virtuosity is the interact piece and the partner piece. And so again, this is trying to create a way to bring character into conversation so that it becomes more institutionalized. In the interact page in Virtuosity, you can interact with the other people in your organization. You can share resources, you can ask questions, you can share exercises that have worked well with you. And then also this partner piece is one of the most important parts that we found from our research that supports character development. And again, that's another video. I'll dive into the partner feature. But here what I want to bring attention to is at the end of each week, you have these weekly insights where your partner also provides insights for you. And what we hope this does is it brings character from the app into actual conversation. So these insights provide just a starting point to really support critical and impactful conversation. The last feature that I'm going to touch on today is the library. And in the library, we have extensive resources, including workshops, articles, research, podcasts that are really meant to be there to help leaders or champions or whoever it might be continue to leverage those and actually embed them into their organizations. And one of my favorite examples is we have music playlists for each of the 11 character dimensions. So you can bring music into your group practices and talk about music and use it to activate those character dimensions, or even ask your group mates to create their own character playlists and use that as a practice to cultivate character. That's all I have for this video. I hope it's been helpful and takes you one step closer to being the person you want to be. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now.